Jessie lived alone in a small cabin deep in the woods, believing she understood the wild. But each morning she witnessed something strange. A majestic bald eagle would fly to her porch just to sit beside Oreo, the cat she had raised since it was a kitten. The unusual bond between these two unlikely creatures amazed Jessie. Every time she heard the eagle's distinct cry, she knew her special friend had arrived. But one morning, that familiar sound carried a weight that tightened her chest. That morning, Jessie was working when she heard a strange cry outside. An uneasy feeling rose inside her, and she rushed out to the porch. Oreo was gone, but the eagle's cry echoed around the house. A memory surfaced of her beloved dog once attacked by an eagle. That tragedy had haunted her, worsened by the fact that there was no vet nearby in this remote area. It was that loss that inspired her to study animal care through online courses, hoping to one day save animals in need. On a supply run to town, Jessie was handed a small basket by an old woman. Inside were two tiny kittens whose mother had been killed by a fox. The elderly woman was too frail to care for them and believed Jessie was the only one who could. Jessie hesitated, afraid of forming bonds only to suffer loss again. But when one kitten yawned sweetly, melting her heart, she couldn't say no. Knowing the journey ahead would be challenging, Jessie accepted the responsibility. She prepared everything: special formula, tiny bottles, soft cloths, and a baby carrier to keep the dust. Kittens close to her chest. Every 2 hours, day and night, she fed them, wiped their faces, kept them warm, and whispered gently. One kitten was black and white, the other gray. They slept peacefully against her, their tiny bodies absorbing the warmth of her heart. Day by day, their little eyes began to open, and their skinny frames started to fill out. Jessie didn't dare name them yet, fearing the pain would be greater if one didn't survive. But when both started eating soft food, playing and chasing each other around the cabin, she knew they were ready to live. She smiled softly. The black and white one will be Oreo, and the gray one, Felix. From that moment on, it was as if their names gave them strength. They thrived, full of joy and life. Since being named, Oreo and Felix grew bold and adventurous. They started demanding to go outside, climbing windowsills, scratching the door whenever Jessie opened it. Concerned about the dangers outside, wolves, eagles, Jessie hesitated, but their determination won. She compromised, allowing them supervised outdoor time. Surprisingly, they didn't stray far. They sunbathed on the porch or played in the grass behind the cabin. Jessie slowly began to trust again. But one afternoon, something strange happened. Jessie was working at her desk, Felix asleep on her lap and Oreo lounging on the porch, when the eagle's distinct call rang out, loud and so close it made her hair stand on end. Fear surged. She gently set Felix down and ran outside. But instead of horror, she saw something incredible. A young bald eagle sitting beside Oreo, calm, friendly, like an old companion. The eagle looked juvenile, its feathers fluffy and not fully developed. Jessie held her breath, afraid that any movement might trigger an attack. Yet Oreo remained calm, sitting on the railing, showing no fear. She even leaned in, nuzzling the eagle in a trusting gesture. Jessie couldn't believe her eyes. Moments later, Oreo jumped down beside her food and water bowls, glancing at the eagle as if inviting it. "Come, friend." To Jessie's amazement, the eagle responded, flying down gently to drink water for nearly an hour, then sitting quietly beside Oreo. Felix came outside too, but stayed in the distance, uninterested in the visitor. After about an hour of rest, the eagle stretched its wings, still weak but determined, and soared back into the sky. Jessie assumed it was a one-time encounter. She was wrong, because the next morning, the eagle returned. From that day on, every early morning, the young eagle came back. At the sound of its wings, Oreo would race to the door, eager to meet it. They sat side by side like old friends, cat and eagle, creatures from opposing worlds, somehow at peace together. Jessie named the eagle Freedom, because its presence brought peace and a sense of liberation. Touched Jessie deeply, but one day Oreo began behaving oddly, circling Jessie's legs, meowing nonstop, refusing comfort. "Do you want me to follow you?" Jessie asked. So she did. Oreo led her off the porch across the yard and into the forest, something she had never done before. Alarmed, Jessie followed, fearing something was wrong. Under a large tree, Oreo stopped. Jessie looked up and froze. An eagle was caught in the branches, its wing trapped, unable to free itself. "Freedom, is that you?" Jessie called. But this eagle was larger, older, and in obvious pain. Without hesitation, Jessie rushed home, grabbing a small ladder, thick gloves, a soft blanket, and a pet carrier. She climbed up, carefully wrapped the eagle to calm it, and gently freed its wing. To her surprise, the eagle didn't resist, perhaps sensing Jessie meant no harm. She carried it home, treated the wound, bandaged it, and laid it in a large cage lined with soft cloth, fresh meat, and clean water. Stepping outside to check on Oreo and Felix, Jessie froze. Freedom was still there, sitting beside Oreo as always. She gasped. Then who? The truth dawned. There were two eagles, and both had chosen Jessie as their safe haven. In the days that followed, Jessie poured her care into healing the injured eagle. Meanwhile, Freedom kept visiting, as if checking in on his kind. Jessie placed the recovering eagle's cage by the window so it could observe the world, slowly preparing it for life outside. After weeks of recovery, the eagle spread its wings powerfully once more. On release day, Jessie opened the cage, tears in her eyes as it soared into the sky, carrying hope and freedom with it. But the miracle wasn't over. The next morning, both eagles returned to the porch, joining Oreo like three old friends. Then, another morning, Jessie gasped in disbelief. Curled beside Felix was a red fox, the very one she had rescued once long ago. On that humble wooden porch, a cat, eagles, and even a fox, creatures once thought to be natural enemies, now coexisted in harmony. In Jessie's little world, kindness had united wild souls into an unimaginable family.